to see you again. Back with another C6 Corvette video for you. Today I want to talk about the 5 things I like best about owning a C6 Corvette in 2023. So without further ado, guys, I don't like to waste a lot of time. Let's get started. So my favorite thing about this car, I can't say favorite, but my number one thing I'm going to list right now is I love the look of this car. I think it's a very sleek looking car. The lines on it are very aggressive in my opinion. As I mentioned, very subjective, but I love the look of it. I think that this is the first generation of Corvette in a long time where they actually got the tail end correct. Even and you guys may hate me for this, even with the 7s and 8s, I like the C6 tail end better than the look of the 7 or 8. That's just personal preference. I prefer the rounded tail lights on it. I like the more maybe classic look at this point. But the look for me, and then it's got the target top. You guys know I'm a huge fan of having a target top that you can pull off in the summer. I like to drive this thing for about 7 months a year. Having the top off for 5 months of the year makes this thing even better than what it already is. It looks great, and I think that there's some modifications I'm going to do to it to make it look even better as we grow in this channel together. So that's going to be a fun part of it too. But the first thing I like to cover on this is I definitely like the look of it. The second thing I want to talk about with my C6 Corvette, and one of my favorite features of it, is the performance. It's a V8, it's a rear-wheel drive, it's a Z51 package car, and it's a manual transmission. So this car it's rated from the factory at 400 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. The Z51 package, not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but what that package includes, it's going to have some bigger brakes. So I do have the 6-piston brakes. It's got the cross-drilled rotors in it. It's got some additional cooling to it, so it's got, I think, a power steering cooler to it. There's a lot to it. I can list that in the description below if you guys really want to better understand what's in the Z51 package. But it makes this, in my opinion, almost like the best in both worlds. So this car isn't what you would call the true stripper. It's a 1LT, but it's a 1LT with a Z51. So it's more like, an Escort, and not the Ford Escort, but an Escort. You're a little bit higher up than a stripper. But no, the performance on this thing, it's phenomenal. You get in it, it's rear-wheel drive. I pulled out of the car wash the other day in this car, and my tires are wet from the car wash. I can't say the other day, I don't know, 2 months ago. The tires were wet from this car after I pulled it out of the car wash just from the parking lot. And when I did it, I pulled out through a 4-lane road in where I live here, and luckily there's no traffic, but it slid all the way across. It was great. It was so much fun. Just the power and the torque in this thing, it's instant. It's there no matter whether or not you're in second gear where it goes 0 to 70, or you're in you could probably I think I've taken off in 4th gear in this. You could probably take off in 5th. I haven't tried it yet, but the performance, once again, V8 rear-wheel drive manual transmission. These kinds of things you're not going to be able to get forever. Electric cars are here. They're coming. They're not going to come quite as quick probably as what people think, but they're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. You just got to get that figured out, the scalability on the electric cars. The third thing, guys, that I really like about my C6 Corvette, I love the way this car handles. As I mentioned, it's a Z51 car, so it does have some enhanced performance when it comes to suspension. It's got larger sway bars on it. I'm trying to remember exactly what else it has to it, but it is real planted to the ground. You can pull this thing around corners and just throw it into corners, and it stays mounted. And then with that, on the other side of that coin, one thing I really personally love doing when it comes to handling this car, I love turning off the traction control. Now, I leave the active handling on, but I do drive this car pretty frequently. When I say pretty frequently, pretty much every time I drive it with the traction control off. It makes it for just a very enjoyable experience. Now, I'm not sitting there playing with the performance piece of it and chirping tires between lights or anything, but it's a different car when you turn off traction control in a C6 Corvette. And anybody that's had either C5 or C6 will tell you that when you turn off traction control in one of these cars, it can be almost like not quite like a Viper. Maybe when you turn off active handling, it's very raw though, guys. If you do it, be careful and don't do it in big crowds of people. It will probably handle like a Mustang when you get to that point. If you turn off traction control and you're near a crowd of people, just be careful is all I'm saying. The fourth thing I really like about my C6 Corvette is actually, I guess you could say, a positive or a negative depending upon who you are, but the attention. This car gets a lot of attention, and I don't consider it to be a bad thing. And when I say attention, so I'm not talking like, you know, I have 30 girls all climbing all up on it and saying, hey, let me ride in your Corvette or anything like that. But what I mean by attention, so I pulled up at the gas station, and a 7-year-old kid rolled down the window in his mom's minivan and told me he really liked my car. And maybe this later on the same day, a 6-year-old lady, hey, take care of that baby, she's beautiful. You know, just the attention this car gets, it commands, kind of back to my first point, the presence, the look of it, the presence and what it is. It's a Corvette, it's a V8, it's a rear-wheel drive. People know what this is when they see it. They know it's America. It's the enthusiast sports car. So it gets the attention. It's yellow. It's look. If I had an exhaust on it, it would probably get a lot more attention. But that's not the kind of attention I try to attract to myself. But yeah, it's in that my opinion, you know, it's just the attention it gets is, I don't know, maybe second to none. It's not a Lamborghini or anything like that. I realize that, but I'm not in LA. I live in Ohio, so it's, you know, it is what it is. Compare apples to apples, guys. The fifth thing that I like about having a C6 Corvette is actually being a member of the community. I've mentioned this before in past videos, though. Being able to give the Corvette wave. From my experience, and I'm not talking trash, I love C8s. I'm actually thinking about getting one for maybe a daily at some point. C7s, love those too. But the C6, the C5, C4, C3 guys, they all give the Corvette wave. They're real. They're fun. I mean, they're community guys. You know, you can ask questions, and we can learn and build and grow together. I'm all about the enthusiast community, and having a C6 Corvette, I feel like you're really ingrained with it, because you do get like almost the best of every world, in my opinion, on a Corvette for some of the things you're going to look for in a car. I like the fact that it's analog inside. The gauges are analog. The C7's a great car. I love them to death. A little too modern for me. I don't like my cars with quite that much tech. Just a personal preference, guys. But back to the point, community. I love the Corvette community. It's a phenomenal community to be a part of. Highly recommend just getting ingrained with it, even if you don't have a Corvette. But it's a great group of guys. And I know I said I had 5 things I loved about my C6 Corvette, or owning a C6 Corvette in 2023. But I have one more thing I'm going to throw at you guys, and it's actually probably the most important to me, and that's the memories of my C6 Corvette. And what I mean by that, so my wife, her late father was a longtime General Motors employee. He had always had Corvettes with her growing up. She loves Corvettes. She doesn't know how to drive it. I mean, she could probably figure out how to drive a manual, but I've never really let her try. So she enjoys being a passenger. But nonetheless, we have great memories of this car. You know, we take it, whether it's a weekend trip out of town, or I'm sitting out here making a YouTube video with it, or I go up to just a Cars and Coffee or a local car show with my friends. Or we take, I've never done it yet, but I got a buddy, he keeps telling me, he's like, hey man, you got to come down to Louisville, and we got to go out, and we got to go out on a track day. So that's going to be on the agenda maybe at some point as well. But that's the memories you build in this car. It's just I have a picture of my 1-year-old son standing up in the front seat holding onto it with the Target top parked out in the driveway. I'm not going to forget about that even without the picture. I have a picture of dropping my 10-year-old daughter off at school. She wanted me to take her on the first day of school this year in the C6 Corvette, because she said it's a flex. So she wanted to take the C6 with the top off on her first day of school this year. And those are the kind of memories that I like to build in my life, because no matter what goes on and happens to me in my future, at least I have memories. So, but no, those are the 5, or actually 6 best things in my personal, very subjective opinion about owning a C6 Corvette in 2023. Thanks so much, guys, for watching the video. As always, I really appreciate the engagement with you guys in the comments. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your top 5 reasons for owning a Corvette are, your favorite things about owning your Corvette, whether it's a C5, C6, C4. I got love for you guys, so it doesn't matter to me. Like, subscribe to this video. It really helps me grow this channel, guys. It keeps me motivated to make videos. And then, like I said, the community engagement is really, truly what makes me happy. But until next time, guys, thanks again. See you soon.